Let's begin by downloading Unity Hub. If you don't recall, Unity Hub is a program that manages our Unity editor versions, add-ons, and Unity projects. It also takes care of fetching libraries, such as the Unity Engine library. As you might have noticed, I'm working on Windows 10 today. If you are on Mac or Linux, don't sweat. There are versions of Unity Hub and the Unity editor for those platforms. You can do the same process as I'm about to show you to get it up and running on your platform. Now, I typically work on Linux, but as most of you work on Windows 10, I assume, we'll continue on Windows for today. Downloading Unity Hub is very simple. Go to your favorite web browser. In Google, type in Unity Hub and click on the first link. Afterwards, click on the second button here, Download Unity Hub. Once the file is downloaded, open it up and go through the installation process. For my friends on Linux, I actually recommend using your package manager to install Unity Hub, just because it makes everything neater. Once you're done downloading and installing Unity Hub, you can launch a program and then sign into your Unity account. While signing in is not really important for today, it might be down the line if we ever use the asset store. So to do so, we just click on this icon, sign in, and if you already have an account, fill in the form and click sign in. If you don't have an account, you can click here to create one. If you're lazy like me, you can just sign in using a Google, Facebook, or Apple account. Let's explore the Unity Hub program real quickly. We have 4 tabs on the side. Let's start at Installs. This window allows us to install newer versions of the Unity editor, as well as previous versions, alpha, and beta builds also. So I currently have 2 versions of the Unity editor installed on this computer. I have 2020.2.1 F1, which is, as of speaking, the most current version. That's not a beta version. And I also have 2019.4.8. So you might not have any versions right now. To add a version, we can click on Add, and then we can select different versions of Unity to install onto our computer. And when I say Unity, I'm actually meaning the Unity editor. So the recommended version is this 2019 LTS. LTS stands for long-term support. We won't be using this version. At least I won't be using this version. I'm currently using the most recent official release. So anything that ends with F1 or F something is for a final official release. We can see here that we have versions that end with B and a number. Those are beta versions. We won't be using these versions because I don't think it's really appropriate in an academic setting. We don't want any unexpected bugs to occur during a quiz or grading or whatnot. So why am I going with 2020 and not 2019, even if it's the recommended version? Well, I've been using 2020 in 3 other classes and my students have never had a problem with it. So I think it's safe to say that we can go with 2020 this semester. Now, I can't select it here because I already have it installed, but for the rest of this example, I'm just going to select 2020.1. Click on Next, and here we can add some modules or add-ons. We'll come back here whenever we need some. For example, we might actually end up using the Android build support add-on. But for now, let's just click on Done. So we should see the window update here, and we have a blue progress bar to give us a status on the download. Once it's done, we finally have a version of the Unity editor successfully installed. Let's go to the Projects tab. Now, I'm skipping Learn and Community because they really aren't interesting for our needs, and we spend most of our time in the Projects tab anyways. So the Projects tab allows us to manage our Unity projects. This means creating new projects, opening existing projects, adding existing projects to the list here, and also deleting projects or removing them from the list. So let's start by creating a new project. To create a new project, click on this arrow, select your desired version of Unity. I'm going with the most recent official release as of recording. And here we have 4 different templates. 2 more are about to pop up. There they are, Mobile 2D and Mobile 3D. Most of you are familiar with the 3D template. Actually, I'm convinced that all of you are familiar with this 3D template. So this has been the standard since the beginning of the Unity editor. However, in recent years, Unity Technologies, the company behind Unity and everything Unity, have been pushing for AAA video game development and are really trying to pierce into that AAA market, which has been most commonly dominated by engines such as Unreal Engine or in-house proprietary engines. So to become more AAA friendly, they've been working really hard on getting better code generation and jobifying code with their dots. But I don't want to talk about that today. Actually, I want to talk about their new innovations in graphical rendering. So they're now allowing developers to script their render pipeline with this new feature called, scriptable render pipeline. If you're not familiar with what a render pipeline is, because you haven't taken a graphics course, don't worry about it. A rendering pipeline is basically just the process of how to get pixels onto your screen. And this process can be done many ways. It's done in a certain way in the default 3D package, but it's been modified, it's been scripted per se, in the HDRP package and the URP pipeline. So these two templates use different rendering techniques, which are actually more modern, but also more performant than the basic one. So Unity have been pushing to make HDRP and URP the new standards. If you're not comfortable switching to, let's say, URP, don't worry, you can just stay with the good old 3D template this entire semester. It won't be a problem. Since this is a new semester, however, I thought it could be fun for all of us to go with something new. And you'll see it's not any more complicated. You don't even need more powerful hardware to use it. So yes, the URP will actually give us more lush and beautiful graphics, but since the rendering process is more optimized, we don't really need a stronger computer than what you would have needed for your 3D template. So that's a win-win right there. Now, what's the difference between URP and the HDRP? I'll just say it right now, we won't be using HDRP. HDRP is for really high fidelity graphics using advanced ray tracing, subsurface scattering, radiosity for global illumination, and other advanced graphical techniques. So this is really cool if you have if you have the hardware for it. So if you have good graphical acceleration with a dedicated GPU. If you're trying to make a game for a mobile platform like Android, iOS, or even the Switch, which is based on mobile hardware, you won't get a very high FPS. So HDRP is for some cutting edge stuff, really cool stuff, but you need the hardware to back it up. URP, however, works fine for pretty much any platform, which is why it's called Universal Render Pipeline. So this is perfect for any console, any mobile platform, and also desktop computers. It also works for 3D and 2D gaming. All right, so now I'm going to select a location. I'm just going to put this on my very messy desktop because I'm feeling lazy. And for the project name, I'm just going to call it Lab 1. And then we'll click on Create. Now, as most of you know, creating a new project takes some time. So I'll meet you back in a couple seconds. Once your project is created, the Unity editor will open up. Now, you might be seeing something a bit different if you've never created a project based on URP before, but let's put that on pause and come back to that in a couple minutes. Now, I just want to close this window and open up the Unity Hub program once again. To remove an element from the list of projects, we simply click on these three dots and then click on Remove from List. Now, it's important to note that this only removes a reference in this window. It doesn't actually delete your files. So as stated here, your project files will remain on your hard drive and will not be deleted. So I'm just removing it from the list. Now let's say I want to add the project back. For example, one of your colleagues sends you their project. It's not their assignment, nor their quiz, nor their lab, obviously, but it might just be a hobby project outside of the course. So that project won't be in this list, obviously. You need to add it. So we need a way to add existing projects. So let's add back our Lab 1. So we click here on Add. Then we find the project folder, make sure it's not a zip file, but an actual folder. And what we're doing is not selecting a single file, we're just selecting a folder. So a Unity project is represented as a folder and not as a file. So we want the folder that contains assets. We don't want assets, we want the parent folder. So this is the directory we will select. And I made the mistake here. Okay, all right. There we go. And we'll see it added into the list. Now, if I click on it, it will open it up. Now, let's say I actually want to go into the files and delete some elements. So I can click on the three dots again, click on Show in Explorer. This will open up the parent folder that contains the project folder. So I can click on Lab 1 here, and then I can see all of my beautiful files and assets, and I can go about and modify them and delete them and rename them. So what's really cool is that if I modify any of these files, we'll see the modifications reflected in the project in the Unity editor if we had that open. So that basically covers the basics of Unity Hub, how to install versions of the Unity editor, and how to do basic project management.